Are you truly happy with your life?
I'm blessed to have reached where I am today, but it's neither easy getting here nor being a female CFO. Besides that, I have to work harder than my peers to prove myself. So, as a result, my health and my family life take a backseat.
First, I had to change my job when I got married. Then, I had to completely leave the corporate world when my daughter was born.
I landed a great job right after MBA, and it's been an exciting 2 years. But now family pressure is increasing on me to settle down.
That's a good question. Let me think about it.
How do you overcome these challenges?
I tried aerobics on my own for a month, but it's impossible to balance everything. I find it difficult to sustain.
I don't know where to start. I've heard that a coach can help find a solution. But where do I get a trusted and experienced coach?
I wish someone could help me with the solution that works for me and helps relieve that pressure.
Women are brought up in an environment where they think about others' happiness. Guess now it's time to think about my happiness. It's never too late to get started.
These are real stories. Across the country, millions of women, including me, have had our happiness impacted by issues where our health, relationships, and career aspirations are compromised. It is not time for despair or self. Rather, it is time to take charge of your life and your happiness. It is time to look within, to connect with your deeper purpose, and start your happiness journey. It is time to say cheese. Say Cheese is the first women happiness platform focused on providing personalized and holistic solutions to help solve real challenges women face. Let's make the world a happier place, one woman at a time, together. Come join our community now.
I hope you all liked the video. It is indeed a very touching video. So I'm sure you all are aware of what Say Cheese does, but I would like to tell you all a little more about the company. So Say Cheese is India's first platform dedicated to women happiness. We try and solve for challenges in the areas of career, relationship, and health by offering personalized and holistic solutions. Once the user registers onto the platform, we do a detailed happiness evaluation where important elements which determine your happiness level are measured. After that, we give them a detailed report on it, and we suggest them to go for coaching. Coaching, talking about coaching, we believe that coaching is a very important journey where we believe with, if you have a good coach, then it can open doors. They help you find out the cause of a problem and draft your journey towards self awareness. Uh, at Say Cheese, we would say we have the best quality coaches, and we also have tie ups with ICF Bangalore chapter and Tara. Today, here we have gathered to for the first session of our Hooked series, and it is a very very special session for us. Before talking about Hooked series, I would like to introduce you all to the Hooked series concept and play a video for the same. So, like the video suggested, and like the video informed, that Hooked series is a a variety of topics that we cover. It's a month-long activity of webinars that are conducted by industry experts in various facets and various areas. So when we speak about Hooked series, we have designed it specially in order to gain knowledge and skills for women. We have made it in such a way that women can get a lot of advantage out of this, and it is a very special 1 month for us, wherein we try and incorporate as much as how many ever topics we can for women to take advantage of this. We highly encourage women to be a part of it, attend these webinars. They are scheduled over the weekends for convenience, and we really encourage women to be a part of this and make the most of it. uh, Without further ado, I would like to welcome you all once again to the coaching session, to the webinar today, called Benefits of Coaching, wherein we have our esteemed Say Cheese Coaches panel, who you all can see on the screen right now. And I would like to introduce them all to you. So to begin with, we have with us Mitali Chopra, International Business Etiquette and Protocol Consultant; Jalaja Hari Prasad, Leadership Coach and founder at Influx Consulting, Executive Leadership Coach; Debashish Das, founder CEO Ilankis HR and Consulting, Business Growth, Life and Executive Coach; Jayashi Braganza, ICF ACC Coach and Business Consultant; Deepak Verma, Ikigai, Speakology, Healify, Leadership Wizard, helping you succeed in a rapidly changing world; Punita Puri, founder and director at Entelechy Wellness Private Limited, inner transformation coach and spiritual mentor; Shraddha Atal, ICF certified life coach and transformation coach; Payal Khanna, people development practitioner and executive coach at Potential Genesis HR Services. We couldn't have with us Marur Raghuraman. He is the vice president of ICF Bangalore chapter. Last but not the least, Dinesh Jain, CEO, executive coach, Stanford Seed consultant, and advisor to Say Cheese. He is also the host for the panel discussion today. And I would like to ask Dinesh to take it over from here. And all the best to everyone. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks very much, Nabila. Uh, Thanks very much. I think Sechi's deserves a kudos for organizing such an event. And when I was going through the list of panelists, I said, how wonderful it is that if I would be coached by uh, all of them is like an amazing thing. Even one of them is a dream come true. And what we're going to talk about today is taking the experts' views on what coaching is all about. My own journey into coaching has been, I knew of coaches which are there largely associated with the sports teams. We have football coach, we have cricket coach. That's what we have heard. And then we came to individuals, and these are, team coaches. And then you have individuals where you have a chess coach and you have a tennis coach. So I said, is okay, fine. Is there something which is beyond that? Are there coaches only for sports or something else? I'm from a business background. I have been a corporate person. And then I came across a book, which is actually called A $1 Trillion Coach. Now, this book changed my view completely, is that how can a coach, not being a part of the business, can still help people like Larry Page, people like Bill Gates, make a business total contribution of about $1 trillion. So this is a lot to talk about, and let's start and go deeper into trying to understand what this coaching is all about and how it can be made relevant to us as individuals in each of the situations. So I would like to, first ask Debashish. Debashish, can you tell us what is coaching all about?
Uh, First of all, good evening, everyone, and a happy New Year. And thank you, Dinesh, for choosing me to respond to this question. Uh, well, as you rightly put it across, a coach is someone who perhaps facilitates and does not play the game. And if we really talk about the nuances of sports and business, they don't change much as there is a Lionel Messi or a PV Sindhu who is the master of the game, and you have the coaches who are there to help work with the techniques, temperament. Similarly, a coach is a person who is able to use a scientific process, a structured process to unleash the potential of an individual, provide the right direction and perspectives. The individual who is getting coached is an experienced person who is the master of their own game, whether it's a business owner, whether it's an executive or a person in their life. They know the situation in which they are. But what a coach does is work with them, provide them the perspectives and the directions with a process, a structure, and ensure that the belief systems and the potentials are unleashed. So that's what the role of a coach is. There are multiple definitions, but my approach to the understanding of the coaching is someone who is an enabler and a facilitator for performance.
Wonderful, Devashish. What I picked up, two insights, deep insights for me is outsider who works from inside. Brilliant. Jayashree, can we have your perspective into coaching? You've been coaching for a very long time. You are an expert in this area. How do you see coaching? What is coaching?
If I may start with what is coaching, essentially it's a partnership. It's like a powerful conversation between a coach and a client in a very safe, non-judgmental and supportive environment. So the underlying beliefs are that the answers we seek are always within us, right? What the coach would do is possibly invoke a deeper awareness through powerful questioning. A metaphor that comes to my mind right now is that of being in a maze of mirrors, really. While we're in the middle of it, we don't see a clear path ahead. Some reflections are distorted. It can be very frustrating to go round and round, right? So what a good coach would do is partner for a reality check, maybe invite the coachee to have a bird's eye view so there's an easier understanding of a way out. Maybe shine the torch on the dark corners of that maze. So, so coaching essentially is about a partnership to enable the coachee to reach the potential or the solution or a path ahead that he envisages for himself, and possibly even unlock goals that he may not even realize that are there deep within him.
Wonderful. I love the metaphor that you said is that in a maze of mirrors, which mirror to look into. That's so nice and interesting. Right. Punita, you are a person who's got so much of experience across varied kind of set of audiences. Can you share that what are the benefits that one can expect out of coaching?
Oh, thanks, Dinesh, and thank you, Sechi's team, and a very happy new year to all. So, coaching I feel is very futuristic. For a coachee, what he wants to achieve, they all have that potential within them, but they are not able to unlock that potential. And I think that's where is the biggest benefit which a coach can provide. Now, to unlock that potential, the key thing is a shift in perspective, which is required sometime within the person. And I think that's where the coach plays a very key role, wherein you can bring a shift in the perspective of how you see yourself and how you see life and situations around. And the performance of the coachee improves henceforth. So I bring reference to a very great epic which we've been reading about since childhood, when Arjun was there in the middle of the war, and how his emotions and thoughts took over, though he was a capable warrior and he was very focused in his work. So the same situation can arise in any coachee's life or any client's life, where the thoughts and emotions overpower our performance. And that's where I feel a coach can really help them connect with themselves again and bring out their potential again by having that shift within them. So it's really a lot about the inner work and the inner shift in perspective, which changes the situation on the outside. We cannot change people, we cannot change situations outside of us, but we can change the perspective within us. And I think that's the biggest benefit that coaching brings in.
Beautiful. I think is talking about a situation which we all are familiar right from our childhood makes it very, very clear. Uh, Debashish, if I come to you and just ask, is that what do you see as the benefits of coaching in the current environment where there's everything is in a flux? We have gone through probably once in a lifetime pandemic situation. What can coaching do to individuals who are going through a lot of stress right now?
It's a very, very good question, Dinesh, you have put up. And in the context of what we are seeing around us, it's so relevant. So there are a couple of observations. So we do multiple kind of coachings, business coaching and life coaching and executive coaching. So in business coaching, what we are realizing and finding is that there are people who are business owners, who are entrepreneurs, who are perhaps needing help to get direction about what to do next, because this pandemic has created a very unique scenario for them of what we all know in business world, a VUCA scenario. So it's a completely ambiguous scenario all around them, and therefore they are not clear about what steps to take, where to invest. Even their value systems are confused, where simple thing like whether they should fire people or hire more people, spend more in marketing, not spend more in marketing. So there are multiple fuzzy areas or cloudy areas in which they are caught up with. So through coaching, this can be this area of stress can be released. In personal life, people are going through a lot of challenges, whether it is a financial crunch or health crunch. So by coaching, a lot of focus on what they can do rather what they cannot do uh, is a very relevant area. In executive coaching, we are working with a lot of people who are struggling to make career decisions. There are job losses or there are opportunities coming their way but not getting finalized. So again, coaching helps them to choose alternative career options. In one of the cases, I was coaching someone and the person was looking for a job. Finally, after 2 sessions of coaching, now the person is taking up entrepreneurship. So I mean, those kind of radical shifts where you are not a victim of circumstances, but you are able to change your focus and prioritize and take charge of the situation. These are the benefits of coaching, which we have experienced. And I think there are more opportunities of helping people through coaching during these times exist.
Very nice. Devashish, you brought in a very interesting point, which is asked by a lot of people. Uh, you brought in is that it is for people who are looking for career issues, etc. One normally thinks coaching is for the CEOs, the high flyers, the top-notch professionals, the top-notch sports people, etc., etc. So my question is that who all can benefit from coaching? And I will also add one dimension to it, since Say Cheese is particularly for women. Is coaching for women any different from, let's say, coaching for men? Uh, Payal, if I can have your insights into this, please.
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, Dinesh. I think that's a very powerful question in itself when you ask, who can benefit from coaching and is it different for women and men in any way? So coaching itself, first of all, as you already understood from, all the panelists here, is that it is a very powerful tool that helps create, productive, engaged and fulfilled lives. So it is about pushing people appropriately beyond their comfort zones. Now, this people could be anyone. It could be women or men, right? So we are talking about individuals here. We're talking about lives here. So in that sense, for me, if you ask me, coaching is for everyone who is willing to do the latter, to step out of their comfort zones, and it is only because they want to discover and manifest their true potential and really maximize their performance. And people who want to change for the better. So I would not say it is it's gender specific in any way that yes, coaching is different for men or different for women. But yes, we really do need to focus on the fact that yes, women today, do really need to, as we were looking at the video also for Say Cheese, really need to be given that space where they can come and freely express themselves and find a safe space, as Jayashree was saying, where they can feel trusted and feel enabled enough so that they are empowered to take decisions in their life that they are meant to take, right? And as you were saying, coaching is often seen as a learning and development technique that is reserved only for those in the executive positions, right? Nothing could be farther from the truth. I think we really need to challenge conventional wisdom here, because coaching helps people from different walks of life. It could be students, it could be working women, it could be women in transition, it could be homemakers, homepreneurs, young entrepreneurs, people in their golden years. It's not just a productivity tool, right? When we are looking at coaching, it's about making people feel empowered, as I said earlier. So it is just about everyone who is open to the idea of being coached, and wants to give their best, is ready for and should go for coaching. And there's so many ways in which coaching can contribute, right? So when we talk about particularly women, because we are on a women specific platform, so people who are trying to manage change. So changing jobs, roles and responsibilities can be a huge challenge for individuals to get to grips with. So coaching can play a very important role there. It can play a significant role in helping individuals feel more confident. When we talk about workplaces, we know that coaching can promote inclusive culture where everybody ends up feeling motivated and engaged. And particularly a very important application, a very specific application of coaching is in assisting people, and particularly women, getting back to work, following a career break. So returners have reported that even after several months of getting back to their workplaces, they find it difficult to seamlessly transition into their teams, or the ability to work to their best comes a little difficult to them, after this sabbatical. So coaching can smoothen this transition. Sorry.
Can I request others to please put on mute? That'll be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, Dinesh. So I was just saying, the coaching can smoothen this transition, right, for maternity or paternity leaves or a sabbatical, and ensure that individuals get back, without having their life force being sapped. So coaching by its very nature, helps people feel more valued. So men or women, I think it's for everyone, and I would continue to reiterate that. Yes, for women, we need to create that space.
Oh,
thank you.
Many thanks. Payal, you bring about a new perspective to it. Debashish was talking about young professionals away from being CEOs and top ranking sports people. You brought in a concept of students and housewives who can benefit from coaching.
Absolutely.
All right. Mithali, you have worked across the sectors on the corporate side and the non-corporate side. What do you think about this question? Because there is a lot of noise around it. So can you take the smoke away and give us a clear view?
So thank you so much for bringing me in. And I would tend to agree with Payal when she says that it is for everybody. So if you go by what I have experienced, so let's take an example of people from the corporate world, whether it is a woman or a gentleman. So if they know the exact way of going about, if they know the right protocols of how to shake your hands, how to introduce themselves, how to negotiate properly, knowing the cultural background of the people whom they are interacting with, how to network to the best of the advantage of the company as well as for themselves, and how to converse with people up and down the hierarchy and also with their colleagues. So they not only come across as polished professionals, but also help the organization in a way that they portray the right image of the company that they belong to. So that is one perspective that comes in as far as the corporate world is concerned. So coming to the social environment, so if a lady, let's say you're talking about women, so if the lady knows exactly how to mingle, how to converse with people, and how to, the dining etiquettes, whether how to hold the fork and the knife, how to hold the cup and the saucer, whether both are to be held or one. So small things like that, how to dress up for different occasions. She will be able to impart this kind of knowledge not only to her family, but to everybody else around her. So in the process, the whole society as well as the family benefits from it. So I feel that if women particularly, and if men also get through coaching, and as Payal said, different types of coaching that there are, so it is beneficial not only for the individual, as for the rest of the people whom they interact with. So it's for everybody who's in the path of self-actualization, self-improvement, learning, and growth. So that is what I feel.
Oh, wonderful. Uh, Now, coming to you, Punita, if I may ask a question, is that you have coached innumerable number of people. Are there any specific differences that you find between coaching men versus women, and who can benefit? So, because you have so rich experience.
Thank you. I think Payal and Mitali have covered that. See, coaching for men and women, it's pretty much the same. The process would be the same, but the concerns which come from women are quite different compared to from men. From women, I would say the challenges are different because of the belief systems and the challenges which they face in the workplace. That could be peer pressures, that could be they are in a minority, and also facing situations at home which could be difficult for them to balance home as well as work. So the kind of challenges which women come up with could be relationship linked, it could be in the workplace, it could be at home, it could be self-worth issues, low self-esteem issues, lack of confidence, or it also could be peer pressures which they are unable to handle in the workplace. So the kind of issues which women bring up are generally different. Some are also performance linked, where they do have a dream and a goal, but they do not know how to achieve it. And they are really keen to achieve their dreams or become an entrepreneur. But they have self-limiting beliefs, or the beliefs of the family or their loved ones, which have come up in their mind that they would be unable to create their own business or perform better. Even to climb up the leadership ladder, women have these inhibitions because they are in a minority. So the challenges which they face at the workplace are very different.
Very interesting. Very thanks for the great inputs. Now, changing a little bit of direction, uh, it is seen as going and asking for help is a sign of weakness. Am I not good enough? Am I bad? Getting a coaching will be seen as if I'm not worthy of something. So my question is that what are some of the inhibitions and roadblocks towards people taking coaching, and how can this be overcome? Jayashree, you must have experienced, especially when people are kind of nominated to coaching sessions, that how do they react to this, and how can one can talk about it?
Thank you, Dinesh. And I think you hit the nail on the head. And so I'm a coach, I'm also a counselor. And what I find is that the blocks start within, There is this myth that coaching is only for those who cannot succeed on their own, and therefore there's a notion of weakness associated with it, or that it's only for the professional space. So, extending what Payal, Debashish, and Punita were sharing, so coaching is for anybody who feels a sense of stuckness at any point of time and in any area of their life, right? So, and I'm glad we're having these conversations which sort of destigmatizes coaching, that it is not about weakness, it is about uh, being more than what we are today, unleashing a part of us, the potential that is hidden within us. And that is what a coach can really partner with, really, see the amazing in you that you might currently not see, or help you identify what's holding you back from being that full potential. Because what coaching does is really work with the whole person, and work with the core. And especially as women, we constantly juggling multiple hats. I think as Punita said, the nuances sometimes are different for men and women. For women, the self-care or self-actualization sometimes tends to be lower priority. So therefore, a coach can really help a woman to kind of examine, do they really want to be where they are? Where do they want to go? And ignite that fire within them, whether they are a homemaker, a student, or a professional, a grandmother, irrespective of what age they are in, really, to see, to work with where do they want to go, because they have a battle not just within them, but with let's say with constructs that society imposes, right? With gender inequality that comes up. So with all of that, to still kind of realize your full potential. A coach can partner with the woman, and that the biggest roadblock there is within us to kind of destigmatize it, to believe that a coach can support all areas of our life, really.
Wonderful. I think you again hit the nail on the head by saying is that when best can benefit from coaching, so what stops anybody else?
Yeah.
Coming to Deepak, what would be your, what I call is a mool mantra for people to look at coaching and overcoming the inhibitions and roadblocks?
Dinesh, that's a brilliant question because, and it took me some time to realize it, that getting inspired by a coach is not enough. Getting the self-confidence that they can bridge the gap between what they are and what they wish to be, that is the key. Let me explain. And it took me some time to, see the difference because, showing yourself, showcasing yourself or inspiring others, that's the easy job. And all of us coaches here, the great panel that we have, we can easily inspire a great round of people around you. But what it does not do, and that's where the inhibition comes in, is as a mentee or as a coachee, I don't have the confidence that I can really bridge that gap and become, a Mitali or a Punita or a Payal, in whatever great characters that they do. Where can I bridge this gap, or a Dinesh? Where can I bridge this gap? And that confidence in the coachee or the mentee is the key inhibition that needs to be overcome. And if we actually understand this and overcome it, then a huge bridge is crossed. I've seen it personally in my own, various experiences with coaches, that this is the key thing. Once you really bridge this gap between their own self-inhibition, that yes, they can, get to where they are. And, the catch is, I think, rightly said by Debashish right at the start, is as a facilitator, the bridging has to be done by the mentee themselves. So the coach is, standing out and, clapping hands while the person is, reaching the goal. So that final inspiration, that confidence, self-confidence of the mentee, that's the key inhibitor, which has to be overcome at every point of time in coaching. That's the short answer to that.
Oh, many thanks. And I love this analogy of the bridge. But the bridge looks very shaky. It looks very moving and very unstable. And then I'm not sure if I can cross the bridge. Debashish, how do I handle if I'm having reservations and apprehensions and lack of self-belief, if to start with, in the whole process of coaching?
Yeah, Dinesh, I think it's a very good question, and I'm glad with all the contributions which have come. So I'll just add on my point of view. So inhibitions are many, and all of us have discussed that. And the first and foremost inhibition is what will happen, and am I ready? That is the fundamental inhibition which people have in coaching. Now, one of the ways to break that, or the solutions to bridge that, is from the coach's side to give that sense of confidence. And the principal sense of confidence which a good coach can give is the sense of good connect. And that is why an exploratory session, in most of the coaching sessions, what we do is we have an exploratory session, which is a no commitment kind of a session, a freewheeling kind of a session, where between the coach and the coachee, there is a little bit of opportunity to build a chemistry and a connect. And that is a time when the coach is able to give the confidence to the coachee that, look, I am there as a support to you. And very important part is you can confide in me, because one of the things which is the biggest inhibitor and a roadblock to coaching is the fact that the coachee will open up and share a lot of information. And that information sharing can only be done if the coachee has the trust, has the sense, has the first vibes and the aura of a coach who will be able to, the coachee can trust or be rely upon. So I think that is one solution we have found that which works very well, an exploratory session. Second is if the coach is accommodative and patient, because sometimes the coachee do not know as to what they want, and the goals need to be facilitated. So the coaching may be restless. The coach will have to work with that. So I think these two initial things we have found And third, of course, is a little bit of credentials, that if the coach is able to share to the coachee that, look, you are in safe hands. I've been there, done that. I'm certified. I'm accredited. I have done so many hours of coaching. So I am not somebody who is trying and experimenting with you. You are in a very safe hand with an expert. So I think these 3 or 4 steps reinforced work very well to break that inhibition of the uninitiated into coaching, and goes a long way in, I like the term which Dinesh used, a shaky bridge to a more stable bridge. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you. And it's very reassuring that the relationship between the coach and the coachee actually is a very close knit and a relationship of trust. But then, it goes in, and sometimes I get confused. So somebody says that I need a mentor, somebody says I need a coach. Are they same? Are they any different? And then somebody throws in a word counseling. So what is the difference between coaching, mentoring, and counseling? If I may come to Jalaja, if you can throw some light on this, remove what I call as the semantics, and there's a lot of issues and I get confused.
Yeah, thanks. That's a brilliant question, Dinesh, because most of the time this is what people come across and they keep asking about the differences, So some of the key differences, what I can look at is, while the communication skills used by these professions are similar, such as asking questions, active listening, summarizing, etc., they are different actually. So 2-3 different stuff which I can look at is the energy flow, where you see a counselor will have to provide the energy, motivation, excite the person seeking counseling. Whereas in coaching, what happens is the energy flows from the participant actually. So coaching is getting the client discover themselves in a creative process to maximize their potential in their professional or their personal space, and it is future focused basically. So the energy flow, which is very important. Mentoring again is teaching or almost like a teacher student relationship kind of a stuff, or an advisory kind of a stuff. That one is the energy flow, which I always think about. Second one is the positioning of the relationship. Counseling is again step down relationship, which you can see. Person who's seeking will actually look upon the counselor to advise or give directions, as there is some kind of a dysfunctional, emotional, family issues, habits, etc. Again, coaching, if you look at, it's a peer-to-peer relationship, aspirations, goal-oriented, future-focused, as against counseling, which is gap-focused. That's what I keep looking at. And another difference which I look at is counseling or mentoring is pedagogy, which is a teaching method, whereas coaching is synagogy, experiential learning, or the adult learning. So these are some of the key differences which I always look at when you look at coaching, counseling, and mentoring.
Oh, very interesting. Devashish, what is your experience with these 3 terms and how do you remove the confusion?
Yeah, I'm very happy with the kind of quality of questions, Dinesh, you're asking. These are actually wonderful questions. And it's a very fundamental question. So let me first try and address the difference between coaching and mentoring, and then I will talk about counseling slightly later, because counseling, in my understanding, is required at a different state of mind. Whereas when we talk about coaching and mentoring, there is always a blurred line. So I will operate more from these 2 terms, coaching and mentoring. So first, a fundamental difference is that coaching is highly performance centric and mentoring is more of relationship centric. So when you talk about coaching, the coach is concerned about the results which it will give. In mentoring, sometimes you are not really focused on the results. You are more concerned about the relationships which will be there and the connect which you are able to make. A coaching is a very structured process, and mentoring is a slightly more freestyle or a fluid and open process. Coaches are normally certified and accredited. You really have to have good experience in a particular industry or domain to be a mentor. You don't need specific certifications to become a mentor. You can be a mentor to anybody. The coaching sessions are mostly, as we do, are having a little bit of payability or a professionalism around it, and they are payable or chargeable. And mentoring sometimes is very voluntary. You may do it because of the love of it, or you like somebody, somebody likes you, they choose you as a mentor. The coaching, one of the fundamental and primary differences between coaching and mentoring is mentoring will perhaps be requiring the mentee and the mentor. The gap is very high. The mentee will look up to a mentor, and it will be an industry leader. Sometimes students look for mentoring, whereas coaching is need for high performance. So let me give you an example. In corporates, when we deal with slightly freshers, we don't recommend coaching, we recommend mentoring with them, because they need cultural adaptation in the organization. They need to understand the ropes of the system. They need to be environmentally savvy, settling it down. So we use mentoring methodology there. But when we are talking about people who are looking for high performance, then we look for coaching. And that is what perhaps is needed. Again, in one of the previous discussions, beautifully, the reference to Gita, Bhagavad Gita was mentioned. And picking up from there, the two characters, one is Lord Krishna and another is Guru Dronacharya. So Arjun is the common person. Guru Dronacharya was a coach to Arjun because he helped Arjun to perform at an optimal level as an archer and as a warrior. Whereas Lord Krishna at the time of the battle was more of a mentor to him. And if you also see, he was also a very good sakha and a friend to Arjun. So mentors become great friends. They stay for a long period of time. Coaches are performance oriented. They have a specific timeline. They're objective and structured to that area. So that's my take on coaching and mentoring. Counseling is typically required at a time when people are having, if I may use the word, a little bit of more behavioral issues. Behavioral issues do not need coaching. Performance issues need coaching. So that's the way I would like to look at coaching, mentoring, and counseling. Yeah, thank you.
Right, wonderful. This explains, maybe the need is that, do I need a coach or do I need a mentor or do I need to go to and see a counselor? This has been very helpful. But then, I'm a doubting Jonas. I don't believe it. All right. So I would say is that, hey, unless until I get a first-hand experience of somebody who's gone through the coaching, how it has benefited the person, can you share some stories with me? I'll go to Deepak. Deepak, you have coached n number of people without disclosing the identity of the person. Can you share one particular story where coaching has actually made a difference? It'll be very reassuring for a future coachee like me. If I was to come to you, I'll say, I don't believe you, Deepak, unless you tell me a story of some where it has actually worked.
One of the good challenges I got was a lady based in Chennai, and as you mentioned, I'll not name her, but she is the editor of World Moms blog, which is a fairly popular thing, and she's also the host of a great webinar. The reason I'm giving this background is there was really initially took me some time to understand why she needed coaching, because I get a run of the mill, a lot of mentees or people who come to me who very explicitly I realized that they need coaching. But this was a lady who apparently had everything in life, including a great relationship, great money, and great career. The career, relationship, but even then there was a gap. That's the best part. So even then there was a gap, and it took a couple of a few sessions to realize what this gap is, and that's when I realized when people come, sometimes they may not be able to express the gap, or they may not be able to express the lack of clarity or the lack of decisions that they're unable to take, despite having everything. That's the, and it took a series of sessions. And this is, I think, a hallmark case. In fact, she's given a video testimony on YouTube also. So it's an open secret. She was so thrilled because I moved her on to Ikigai, getting into her Ikigai, which she can run for the rest of her life, and moving on to how to run her set of relationships in a different manner. So that is, I think, one of my flagship cases. I just thought I'll highlight this to the group at SACHI's.
Thanks, Deepak. I get some reassurance, but I need more. Payal, can you make me a little more confident that I can benefit from coaching? Can you share a real life example?
Yes, Dinesh, I would share one, definitely. It's a woman from Dubai. But getting you more reassured, I'll leave that to you, whether you do feel that at the end of my, testimonial sharing or not. This is a client from Dubai, and she was initially very hesitant about coaching. That was the major roadblock, because she had heard about coaching, and one of the friends had recommended coaching to her, and that's how we came together, for the coaching sessions. But it was gladdening to see that slowly she warmed up to the idea of coaching, and how then her life really transformed in a couple of months. It took us a couple of months for her to move from where she had started and to where she wanted to go. And all the aspects of coaching, what we have spoken about till now, how they beautifully unfolded. So this client wanted to be coached to improve their presence and also the communication, both at the personal and the professional front, Dinesh. So, so soon after the coaching agreement, something happened, and this client was also tapped to run a business line in partnership with the spouse. This client was already facing so much of challenge at their own workplace, and then taking on this new responsibility, and during a tumultuous change in their marital relationship as well. So this person had to quickly ramp up their plans at the work front, seamlessly transition into the supporting role to the spouse, and also build trust to improve relationship dynamics. So she was like really, in a quagmire of emotions and these, seemingly unavoidable challenges which she wanted to overcome. So we worked out a, kind of a 90-day plan to make managing new responsibility as smooth as possible, in addition to working on the original goal of communication and presence. So throughout the coaching engagement, the client, she learned how to develop a different style of communication and enhance their presence by forging their confidence, what we have been vehemently speaking about till now, right? It's about believing in your coachee and the client so that they can manifest their true confidence, right? So the client, very happily was successfully able to transition into this new business partnership kind of a role with the spouse, and was also able to create a space of trust with them. And in addition to this, the presence, being an issue for this person was not viewed as very compassionate or motivating enough for people, around, whether at the workplace or at this, or in the new engagements which they were now handling with their spouse. So I partnered with the client to really help her understand that the kind of feedback she was getting is to create a deeper, to help her understand what is that she needs to really discover about herself, and what is that she needs to start exploring and, be aware of now. So we used a lot of communication tools that enabled her to, start motivating and inspiring people around her. And she began to adapt her message to resonate powerfully with each person that she spoke to. So she demonstrated new behavioral skills as well that signaled confidence, So by the end of the coaching, So by the end of the coaching engagement, she reported enhanced communication, enhanced skills and energy levels. And in addition, feedback, which was very, very important, it is very important because feedback from people around her, showed that the client's original issues with her presence had completely and virtually disappeared. So I think this was a great success story. I would say yes for me, but it is finally about the individual, because I would want to say that, when we talk about coaching being for anyone or everyone, it is actually approaching others on the basis of a shared humanity. So I don't know, but I did develop a relationship of friendship with this coachee, and she found that heart-to-heart connect to be the most important one, which helped her bring in this change. So
Wonderful.
whichever way this
Wonderful.
testimonial.
But ye dil mange more, Shraddha. Can you share your experience?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Dinesh. So I'm going to share two, and I'll be very quick. So the first one that I want to share is about this lady who was in the midst of a career transition, and she wasn't sure what she wanted to, how she wanted to go about it. She was pretty clear about the direction that she wanted to take, and she was also fairly clear as to what she needs to do to go there. But somehow there was some concern on the action, on the execution, and we explored that part of her performance, her progress. And over a few conversations, she realized one of the major concerns that she was facing was worry. So she was worried about consequences. She was an overthinker, and she used to keep worrying about outcomes of things that have not even happened as yet. And over conversations, she realized herself where she understood that 99% of the reasons of her worry were out of her locus of control. I understand it's a cliche. I understand rationally, we all are aware of this, that worrying about things that are out of our control is pretty much inconsequential. However, realizing it for your own self is almost like an epiphany. And she understood how much of her energy is getting flipped into a negative emotion because of worrying. And it was on the borderline of anxiety. As soon as she understood this, she became so much more mindful of her actions. She worried a little less about the outcomes of her actions, which actually helped her do that, to execute, so create action in her life. And she moved in the right direction. And today she is a very successful educationist. It was a 4-month-long journey, but it was very successful. The second one that it's a little different in the sense that this girl came to me saying, I'm not sure what I want to be coached about, but there's something there and I want to explore it. So it was kind of a blue sky coaching. And we did a little find your focus conversation, and she wanted to focus on her health. She realized that to focus on her health, she wants to begin with losing weight. So the goal that we set was, I want to lose weight. Very tactical. She was clear as to what strategies she needs to put in action to lose weight. But through a couple of conversations, I think in this third session, she realized it's not just about losing weight, it is about managing time. And she realized that she needs to be a better manager as far as time is concerned. So then the goal shifted from losing weight to, I want to manage my time better. So we began exploring in this area, and again, 3 or 4 sessions down the line, she herself realized that the issue is she has boundary concerns. She cannot say no. There are things that she should be more assertive about, but she's not being so, and she has boundary concerns. It's not about managing time better. She just needs to learn to be more assertive while saying no. So there was a transformation of goal setting from I want to lose weight to I want to be more assertive at work and at home. So according to me, this is a success story when a client actually realizes what he or she is seeking. And goal setting obviously is the foundation of any coaching relationship. So this is what I wanted to share with you. These two are two of my best cases.
Wonderful. You motivated me. So can I book a slot with each one of you for my coaching session? Thanks very much. Now, we are running a little short of time. So if I may just take one sentence from each one of the panelists as the parting shot. Payal, your one sentence for coaching for women.
Yeah, so I mostly see convergences of viewpoints here, Dinesh. So I think coaching for women, I would invite women to come on the SECHI's platform and really explore, go on this journey of exploration and dive into the world of possibilities. So congratulating everyone who is here and thanking the SECHI's crew for having us. Yeah.
Mithali?
And also, yeah, sorry.
No, carry on, Payal. It's okay. I would love to listen to what you wanted to say.
Mithali?
Okay, so what I would like to say is that life is too short to let it pass by. So make it worthwhile, make it fulfilling, turn your adversity into opportunity, give yourself a chance to do things that you have always wanted to do things that you've always admired in others, give yourself a chance to learn to grow and to be on the path of self-actualization. And so that when you turn back and look at your journey, you can look at it with a smile and not regret.
Wonderful. Deepak?
To all the wonderful women out there, find a reason to jump out of bed every morning. Find your purpose in life. Find your ikigai. Take the HER assessment in SECHI's, and if you need any further help, do connect back to me. Thank you so much.
Thanks. Jalaja? Jalaja, you're on a mute.
Yeah. So to all people listening here, get on to SECHI's platform and be a seeker and experience the coaching.
All right. Punita?
Yeah, so my message is that the prerequisite of coaching is not that we have a problem. It is just that we need that support and guidance. And we all are capable beings. All of us present here as well go through issues in life. So why deal with them alone when we all are there to help each other? So this is my request to all women. Do come to the Sechi's platform. These platforms are really the way forward to unlock your potential. Thank you.
Debashish?
Yeah, sorry, I was off connection for a while.
Yeah.
So I think
Just one sentence. We are running really short on time, Debashish. Sorry.
Yeah, sure, sure. So I think coaching is a need of the hour today for everybody, whether it's an entrepreneur, an executive, or an individual. And coaches help in setting the right kind of goals and helping to unleash the belief systems. So I would recommend that everyone experiences the benefit of coaching and create transformation in their life. Sechis is a wonderful platform, and it's perhaps one of the most innovative platform. All the people should definitely try and use the platform and use the coaches available for the benefit of their own growth. Thank you.
All right. And last but not the least, Shraddha.
So we all have limiting beliefs, certain mind blocks, sometimes even action and behavior which might sabotage our journey towards what we want to be, towards where we want to go. I would just like to say that coaching just helps you go from where you are to where you really want to be. And please find in yourself the courage to be your best self, the best version of your own self.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, everybody. I think it's been such an enlightening moment for me personally. And listening to all the experiences, I'm very keen to go onto the platform. I know it is not for me, but maybe I'll make a request to connect with you individually and then pick your brains. Thank you very much. I hand over to Nabila for people to how to go about it. Thank you very much. Again, wish everybody a great journey and steady feet on a shaky bridge.
Thank you so much, Dinesh, for being such a fabulous host. I thank each and every coach for being here and giving your time. I'm sure the audience has taken a lot out of this webinar today. I can say because I definitely have. I would request Rajpreet to please, the founder of Sechis, Rajpreet Kaur, to please speak a few words.
Thanks so much, Nabila. Would like to thank Dinesh for being an amazing host, and thanks to all the coaches, our elite member panel, and it just feels like one family. And there was some, I was listening very carefully, and I think some of the messages were extremely deep and thought provoking. And I would really encourage people to do away with the inhibitions associated and come on to Sechis. We have all the experts out here to help and guide you and unlock your hidden potential. So thanks everyone, and have a great weekend. And just before that, wanted to mention that tomorrow we have a webinar by Mitali, and it's going to be a fabulous one. So please do join us. And of course on Sunday we have Deepak, our Ikigai coach and expert. And so please do join us. And we will also be putting the recording of this on the website of today's session. So thank you everyone. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone.
So we'll just do a screenshot with everyone. Whoever can join in on video, we'll just take a quick screenshot. And let's say cheese. So okay. So let's say cheese.
Say cheese.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone. Hope to see you for all our webinars.
Thank you, Dinesh. Wonderful hosting. Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Mitali?
Yeah.
Just a moment, Mitali.
Yeah.
Just wanted to quickly connect. Just a moment.
Recording one.
Okay.
Nabila, we can stop the recording.